The one thing they can never take away from you is your education, but they can garnish your wages for unpaid student loans, so it kind of evens out. Thanks for coming back for more. My name's Steve Thomas and I'm talking about school. The first thing fishy about school is the spelling. It's pronounced school like S-K-O-O-L, but spelled school with an H. The H is silent. Why the hell is that? Why are there silent letters anyway? What does the H have to hide? Is it taking the fifth or just drinking one? Education is a wonderful thing, no doubt about it. But you can get educated without going to an institution. And I use the term institution in the most unflattering way. I went to a big high school and learned a lot, most of which I don't remember now because I'm old and that was a long time ago. But for the most part, we remember things from high school, not so much the 3 R's, but we've learned how to get along in a structured society. High school for me was like grease on Quaaludes. Everyone was either getting stoned on weed or drinking beer at Steak and Shake. Those who weren't totally missed the point of high school. They call it high school because everyone, including some of the teachers, were getting high. If it weren't for writing for the school newspaper, I would have been bored to tears in high school. One time I made up my own little one-sheet newspaper and took it down to the office to have it mimeographed off. That means I had copies made. I passed them out at lunchtime, which was pretty big distribution for a high school, and everyone seemed to like it. The problem was I didn't okay it with the journalism teacher, or anyone. So I kind of got a good talking to. I figured, hey, free press, right? They kept an eye on me after that. So what I learned from that experience is that you can't do anything on your own without getting the approval from the authorities. So what I did next was a special feature interview with 2 kids in school who were selling marijuana. So I write it up and turn it in for approval to be published in the paper, and guess what? I was called into the office and of course they asked me who these 2 kids were. I didn't name them in my story for obvious reasons. I refused to reveal my sources and of course there wasn't a damn thing they could do about it. The story was never published, imagine that. So high school prepared me for the real world. Life isn't fair. I was good enough at writing to get a little scholarship to go to the University of Missouri, Columbia, a big journalism school, so I was psyched. But with college, they make you take the same damn classes you took in high school for the first 2 years. I couldn't get anywhere near the actual journalism classes, let alone the student newspaper. College is almost all gone. They are all universities now. I don't even know what that means. Universe, I guess. You can learn everything in the universe. I ended up leaving Columbia and eventually went to a small liberal arts college in St. Louis called Webster. I was able to jump right into writing, and they had a student newspaper, a weekly student newspaper. After a bad breakup with my first real girlfriend, who also went to school there, I transferred to my hometown college called Lindenwood. They didn't have a student newspaper, but they did have a radio station. I thrived at Lindenwood, but failed some of the basic bullshit classes like biology, and barely passed the math requirement, which was statistics. Both Webster and Lindenwood are now universities, and the cost for tuition is ridiculous. I've met recent graduates from both, and I'm not particularly impressed. They have always said the best school is life. You learn from experience, not in a classroom. Now, I don't know who the hell they are, but in this case, I concur. Whoever they are, I bet they don't have any student loans to pay. When I had to apply for student loans to go to college, I had to write down references on the application. I wrote down two, Hunter S. Thompson and Richard Milhouse Nixon. I figured that would confuse the hell out of them. But they didn't bat an eye. No one even questioned it. Student loan went through anyway. Some of the most educated people I have ever met didn't even graduate high school. You know what they did instead? They read. All of them read a massive amount of books. I probably learned more in my life by listening to classic rock and roll songs than all of the college classes I took combined. A wop bop loo bop, a wop bam boom taught me a lot and didn't cost me a dime. But I could be wrong about higher education. It's been a while since I've stepped foot in an institution, unless you count that rehab stint I did in 2002. And I flunked out of that too. Until next time, this is Steve Thomas advising you to stay in school despite everything I've just said. You don't listen to me anyway. But that's okay, we all learn in our own time. Comment below and share your experience about education, good or bad. Grab the rabbit by the throat and shake it. Goodbye.